in this tournament, he has brought out the old SCV train. We'll find out if he is going to be able to take a win here in game number 2. But of course, firstly, down at the bottom left-hand side of Whirlwind, one of the biggest maps we have ever seen in StarCraft 2, it is Hobbe. I'm sorry I pronounced it Hobby before. I was just sort of assuming based on what I knew. His opponent across in the bottom right hand side was able to take a victory in game number 1 and did it very, very skillfully, recognizing what was coming. It is, of course, Liquid Taeja. So this map is, you know, it's a pretty big map. There's lots of space through the middle section of the map. We can see all sorts of space through here. There's like a watchtower and, you know, lots of room to move. But when you're spawning in these horizontal positions, it can be a little bit of a difficult task for a Zerg player to actually get too much done. Terran players, they love to sort of expand towards their opponents. So what we may see from Taeja is you know, it's sort of been a thing which players have really started accelerating at a lot, is taking a third base, which is a much closer position to their opponents. So this will allow Taeja to sort of push up this way towards his opponent's main base. Of course, he can run straight through here into the third if Hobbe was wanting to take that, but we can assume that our Zerg player is going to want to take this as his third base. Just up here, set up that hatchery. It's a long way away. If we have a quick look at the minimap, it's a long way to get across all the way over there. So we'll probably see him take that one. Starts us out with a natural expand here, as you would normally expect from the Zerg players. Some people like to try and catch their opponent out with a little bit of a slightly earlier pull, like something like a 10 or even earlier than that, just to try and see if their opponent is going for a fast CC. Now Taeja is going for a fast CC, but he's doing it on the high ground, so he is going to have a little bit of safety here with the CC first into the barracks, and we'll see if perhaps Hobbe, who's seen who's tried the cat's low ground hatchery strategy, where you throw the hatchery down on your opponent's natural and just sort of delay them from taking that base for quite a while. I actually tried that. It was quite funny to see that, and you know, I was really intrigued. It was a really clever kind of strategy. But we can see Taeja getting a second racks out, making sure he's very safe. He's going to have a lot of production power here. Spawning pool on the way. Please draw a duck on the map. Alright, I'll tell you, because there's nothing going on at the moment, I'll do my best, alright? Yeah. How about that? Is that good enough? That's a duck. I can't draw. That's why I don't draw. Anyway, second rack's now up for Taeja. He's got a third also on the way, just making sure he's very safe here as he opens up with an economic style. We can see that Hobbe has now picked up a gas down at the natural. He's going to get just the one for the moment. Also has the third base up and running here at the very expected 9 o'clock position. Taeja going to head down towards his own natural, set that orbital command. We'll probably see a bunker get set up here for Taeja, just to make sure that he is safe during this expansion. Although that said, in the previous game he didn't get that till a lot later, so it might be quite a while until he sets up that bunker. That's a big-nosed whale? Really? Was it really that bad? God, I should go to drawing school or something like that. Double refineries in the main base from Taeja. Gonna get that gas going. There is the bunker. Spawning pool. A supply depot on the way. Hobbe content to continue on with his droning. 6 more drones just now popping out. He's up to a total of 26 right now. We'll add on a couple more very soon, and he's going to be sitting reasonably comfortably with his economy at this stage of the game. Has not had to deal with any with any Hellions or Reapers or anything so far. But once that, normally we see the Hellions will become a threat at around about the 7-minute mark is normally when you will see something like that. But Taeja has decided that he's going to go for a much more a different kind of strategy yet again. We did see the Banshees come out in the previous game, but this time it looks as if he may go for a +1 attack timing here. We've got the 3 racks. The stim is also on the way. This is very similar to something that Protoss players will be used to, is that there can be these pushes that can occur with sort of just mainly a lot of Marines. You kind of have to rely on good micro and that kind of stuff, but of course, you know, wonderful Korean Terran player, he's going to have that micro. So Taeja bringing out something A little bit different, yet again. Not exactly extravagant or crazy like a proxy planetary fortress or something like that, but it is something which you don't get to see too often. We've got a lot of drones now out for Hobbe. He's up to a total of 41. 5 more on the way, just popping out now. We can see there is also the spawning pool just finishing up the metabolic boost. I would like to see the, yeah, there it is. Alright, so 2 Evo chambers. We'll probably see, I would assume it's going to be, yeah, he's got the pneumatized carapace. Very quick, this Overlord just scouting through. He's going to be able to see that there's a, you know, there's a decent count of Marines here, but he's not going to get too much further inside that base. So Hobbe needs to be very, very careful here. Taeja is now finished up the factory, going to start the starport, also the reactor as well. And we'll find out how much damage this is going to get done if he decides to attack. I'm going to assume that that Taeja is going to attack here. Once he has a couple of these, a couple of medevacs out, he's going to look, it should be around about the sort of 9 to 10 minute mark when he's going to look to attack. His opponent has been sitting back, and I mean, that's the thing about this, is that Hobbe has not had to deal with any of those standard sort of 11-minute Hellions that you normally see. The Hellions normally coming out around about sort of 7 to 8 minutes is when you normally see. Did I say 11 before? I mean 7. I meant 7. The normal sort of 7-minute Hellions that come through, and as you can see, Hobbe has not allowed anything to get through, so he has been completely unscouted. The engineering bay has not been spotted. The extra reactors now on those racks have not been scouted either, and another Overlord attempting to get through. I think Hobbe may have seen those extra racks. Is there? Oh no, he just saw the one. So not really too much vision availability here for Hobbe. So it looks as if Taeja is getting prepared for his push back at home for Hobbe. He's got a lot of lings out. We'd like to see a few more coming along, but he doesn't exactly know what's going on, so he's going to morph a few banelings and just try and rely on the fact that he is going to have 1-1 here. So Taeja now making his move out. He's got a very strong bioforce just making his way across the map. He's got a lot of Marines timing it out so that he should be able to get across once the combat shields kicks in. We do have a couple of medevacs also making their way across as well. They're going to help out with healing up these forces right now. And Hobbe does know that there is a big attack coming, so he's got some decent creep spread. He should be able to utilize all this creep spread here unless Taeja tries to kill some of it off. Morphing in some more banelings here. Centrifugal hooks is not done, so keep that in mind as we go into this battle. Taeja now starting to split his units up. We would expect that Taeja is about to just start rallying his units across the map. Stim goes up. Where is the split from Taeja? Nicely done for the most part. The Baneling's not getting the best connects, and Taeja targets down some of them. And wow, that was a well-executed attack in the first phase of this push here from Taeja. He's got more units now coming across the map. Marauders, Marines, all these things are now coming across. There are some Banelings up towards the top. Lifts up the Marines and is going to have to micro back because there is a little bit, well, we'll see if there's enough on the ground. He's killed off some of the creep trimmers here. Centrifugal hooks still not on the way, but more Banes are now morphing in for Hobbe. He does have a Spire also just popping up as well. And there is that third base expansion pushing across through the bottom section of the map, giving him the ability to rally his units this way, not only protecting his third base, but making his way towards his opponents. So Taeja playing a little bit more of an initiative style here. Marines and Banes now fighting on the ground there. Looks like Taeja trying to sacrifice some of his Marines to take out some of the Banes before they are able to kill off the rest of his forces. We can see that we have got, well, Taeja's sort of losing quite a lot of his units here, so Hobbe with his 1-1 on his ground units is actually doing a decent job fighting off against some of these units, and the Banelings are going to slowly make their way across. Not exactly sure what the plan for these guys was. Look at that Marine, he did a somersault in the air. Hobbe taking a fourth base up towards the top side of the map, and now as we can see, we're going to get some mutas out on the map as Hobbe prepares that flying tech, the prawns with wings, now making their way across to the fourth base. No defense here for Taeja, but what he will have is some Marines that he can stim across and hopefully help out. But the medevac count has just gone crazy. We're up to 8 medevacs now out, 12 Marines producing at a time, and Hobbe is in a little bit of trouble right now. He's got 8 Banes now morphing inside the main base. Taeja going to walk through and try and cut them down before they can actually morph in, and it looks as if Taeja is just going to continue this pressure. This rally pressure from Taeja is just doing so much damage. As we can see, Hobbe forced to sit back. His drone count is at a very nice, respectable 72, but we can see that Taeja is just putting so much pressure on. He does have his +1 on his armor now as well, so that really helps out, but Hobbe just has nothing on the ground right now. We have a few meters up in the air. They were doing some damage, of course, at the third base, but I mean, this is where the action is all going on. Here at the natural base of Hobbe, we can see that he's under so much pressure. I am not sure that he's going to last too long here. Taeja coming out with a little bit of an old school build. The +1, 11-minute timing, something you would normally see against a Protoss player, but Taeja bringing it out, it was something which did see the light of day against Zerg players quite a lot, but unfortunately, Taeja wins.